Hey, good morning everybody. How are you guys? I am here to do a what sold video for the month of March. And I will tell you all that March was a terrible month. And I really thought it was worse than last year's March, but I remembered last year being January was pretty good. You know, after the holidays, you don't expect it to be great, but it was pretty good. February I thought was terrible, and March was okay. All right, so that was last year. What I remembered of last year. This year, February was pretty good, and March was terrible, and it was worse than last March. But March last year wasn't great either, so it wasn't as bad. I think I was down to almost 3% over last year overall, but I was down, I think, 70% from February. Okay. So my February was actually pretty good, so I was down a lot. It was a bad month. Um, and it's okay because for me personally, it's just like a little supplemental extra income for me. I'm not relying on it solely for my day to day paying all the bills kind of living like some resellers do. And so, it's a different business model for me. Great if it's a great month, that just gives me a little extra, money. I'm using it to pay down debt primarily. So, the more there is, the more I can, get rid of things because I'm trying to get everything paid off. I'm going to need a new car, and I'd like to be able to buy the car outright instead of having to finance it. I'm just trying to be more pragmatic about incurring debt. That's all. So anyway, that's my personal thing. So, but March was pretty dismal. So there's not a lot of sales. There are not a lot of great sales. But it is what it is. And, part of doing this, I think, is really being transparent about it isn't always great. Lots of times it's great, lots of exciting, it's fun, you sell big money things, you find great things. Sometimes you don't find much, and it's not great. I've gone into thrift stores and left without finding anything that I'm willing to pay money on. There's a lot of, here, the thing about thrift shopping, there's a lot of stuff. Most of it's crap. Most of it's crap. And it's sad but true. I don't go to the bins because I'm already disillusioned going to the stores where they're charging you like up for stuff. If I go there, I mean, that's like this overrun or stuff they don't have room for. So there might be some good stuff mixed in, but mostly it's stuff that didn't sell to begin with. So have to sort through a lot of crap. So, I'm already dealing with that at the high end of the store. I get it. It's by the pound. It's cheaper in the long run. You can find things if you want to spend the day there digging. I just haven't brought myself to do it. It's also extremely competitive lots of times. I haven't been to my bins. I don't know. But there are a lot of resellers in our area. So, and you can always spot the resellers. And some of them are very aggressive even in the stores, to the point, like don't get me wrong, there's lots to be had and we're not all looking for the same thing. So there's really no need to be that person. But there's stores where they hang by the doors and just attack the carts. I don't even go there. I don't have time for that kind of territorial craziness, and that's great if you want to be that person. But there is nothing in any thrift store that I'm willing to fight you for. Okay, like seriously, people, get a grip. But there are people like that, and I'm just, I'm there. For me, I enjoy like finding treasures. I look lots of times those people that are doing that, it's just like you can always tell resellers at a yard sale. It's the guys who walk up, they're looking for tools, they're looking for video games, and that's all they're looking for. They go up to every yard sale, have any video games? Like my daughter and I just laugh. Reseller. Um, I'm willing to kind of look through your stuff and find things. And sometimes, I find like I'm willing to buy things that maybe I know some of those people were never even going to look at. I like Christmas stuff. I like stuffed animals. I like kind of more nostalgic vintagey things. Those are the things I gravitate to. Those are the things that interest me: pottery, glassware, um, you know, old stuff, interesting stuff, antiques, vintage, some jewelry. So everybody's different, and that's fine. But anyway, so this is stuff that sold this past month, and I'm sorry it's not going to be terribly exciting, but there's some cute stuff in there, and it gives you some ideas of what stuff it's going for. The price on the screen isn't going to be the price you'll see me looking down because I have my notes in front of me for what it actually sold for, because I pulled the comps off of my back office for you. So anyway, the first one here is a Victorian style acrylic dangle bead. These are vintage. There were 7 of them. They're like little, they look like little teeny grapes. There you go. Made in Taiwan. They had little pink. They're, in the 1980s, the Victorians, this kind of style was very in. I know because I had a tree that had this stuff on it back in the day. Not this exactly, but these did sell for $25, which is pretty good. And I had paid 14 cents for them because they came in a lot. So when I get a lot of stuff, I just take it and divide it into how I'm going to list it, divide it by what I paid for it. So if I paid, $5 for a box of things, and at the end, however much is there is what it is, that was probably a bag of stuff for a couple dollars, and that's what was in there. So this is a Tommy Bahama full zip lightweight cotton jacket sweatshirt. It's collared. There's your tag. And this sold for an offer of $15, and I had 7 in it, so I doubled up a little bit. This is a De La Rosa Roma silk tie, handmade. Most ties are handmade if they're decent, so do take a look at for that tag. This is geometric. I sometimes use the word Art Deco. Every time I buy a tie that is considered a deco design, which is this, it's kind of got that very linear design with, there's your older tag. And anytime you see this kind of style, it doesn't matter if it's polyester, it doesn't matter if it's silk. Every one I buy sells. So, and they always are not very expensive. This cost me $1. It sold for 14. This is a mirrored vanity tray. It's got this lacy edge. It was a silver tone one. There's the bottom. It had like a velvet on the bottom. And this was sold for my church, and it sold for $18 on an offer. All the stuff from the church is donated, so they're getting that back after I take my fees out. So this is a tie classic. So tie classics do very well. Same people that make Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies don't do very well. And don't believe everything you see online about the $50,000 Beanie Babies. They're really not worth $50,000, most of them. So this is a classic golden retriever from 2001. It's a laying down style. They kind of are curved and laying down like they're sleeping. That's how their bodies are. There's cats and dogs, and almost every one of them does decently. This one sold for the full price of $27, and I paid $1 for it. This one is a ceramic bunny. It's a little planter or candy dish. Look at those eyelashes. How could you not? Mid-century modern. Probably from the 50s or the 60s. That's mid-century, is 40s, 50s, 60s technically, although 70s falls in there too. Especially the 70s, very like teak wood kind of thing. But look at those eyelashes, and it's little. I'm gonna say it's maybe was like 6 inches, and it was sold for $22 on an offer. So this is a brass lipstick tube. It's by Hazel Village. It was Toujours Gay Push-Up. It is empty because you cannot sell used makeup on eBay. But I bought these. They had lipstick in them, but you can't sell them. So I removed the lipstick from them. There you go. And I didn't do anything to them. I didn't clean them. I didn't make them look better. I just took pictures of them. And I know that seems weird, right? But these I bought 2 of these at a yard sale. I think I paid like $3 for everything, for each of them, and because the lady kind of knew what she had. And this one sold for $10.79. I had $2.50 in it. I bought several things from her that I kind of bundled them, so I got a little better deal. But yeah, so I also had a bullet one that sold a few months ago. I think it's in another video that I put up. But they use them for props and stuff, for plays and for movies. Some people collect them, so if you see old brass lipsticks that are cool looking, definitely pick them up. because that one had like the finial on the top. This is a wall pocket. It's got a copper patina. It's floral planter vase. I did not put measurements in it because I occasionally forget to do that. The lady called and said, hey, could you just measure it for me? Because she liked it, and I measured it, and she bought it for $14 on an offer. That was for the church. This is an angel deer lovey. And I sold 2 angel deers this month, which is just weird because I don't find them very often. But Angel Deer is a brand, and it is a little rough. It's been well loved. It is a rooster security deer, and it is a light yellow color. It's now the thing about the angel deers is you'll see, I'll show a close up. They have these little lumpy things like knots down the center of them. They're like a diamond shape, and they have knots on the corners as well. So they always have that, see the little knot on the corner. So they have the little knots, but they have those little nubs down the center. The tag had been washed, so the tag was a little hard to see. And I was asking 13 and it sold for the full price. So this is a paisley and gray 17 large dress shirt in a geometric pattern. It's kind of got a diamond and oval thing going on. It was pink and purple. Very good for the holidays. It sold probably just for that. And the paisley and gray do okay, but all clothing takes a while to move. It just does because, it's not like it's not the grocery store. It's not like a store where you can go in and you can buy exactly the one you want for the price you want and just find your size. It just doesn't work that way. So you're waiting for the right person that wants the item that's the right size to find your item on the multiple places that they're shopping. So this actually did sell on eBay for $24 on an offer. So because it was slow, I was taking some lower than I might have normally taken offers because I just was trying to get a little sales going here. So I picked these up last year, and I was going to keep them because look how stinking cute they are. They're little left-in chicks, and I did pay up for these, so I did sell them, but I didn't make much money because I think I may have paid almost as much as they sold for. There was a little break on the foot there that had been repaired. But of course I didn't see until after I bought them, but it was okay. And there was a little bit off the top of his foot. But I did show all those in the picture and told about in the description, and they sold for $20.25, and I kind of doubled my money on them. So, because I think I paid $10 for them. So this is a Cooper & Oak black fishing pants. They're 38-32 comfort waist, mesh pockets. They're like the material that elastic waist there that dries really quick, but they were kind of like almost a lightweight denim. They were not exactly like the microfiber kind of stuff that you see now. These were a little more like a denim, but were still the dry fast material. And these sold for an offer of $15, and I paid 66 cents for them because it was probably like a store that had things for $1 or something, and I got a discount on top of that, or I bought a lot. Anyway, these are Starlight pocket knife. It's Japan stainless utensil. There you go. It had a little leather pouch that it came in. It had like the antler looking thing there with a spoon. So, and I showed lots of pictures. It was up for $30, and I sold it for an offer of $20. And I paid for that $1 at a yard sale. This is a vintage Tiffany and Company trinket box made for CVS. I know. Who'd have thunk it? It was something they did for Christmas in the 90s. See? Exclusively for CVS by Tiffany and Company. I would have never. It was a limited edition thing. I was pretty confused by that myself. But I had it listed for $35. Took an offer of $25. Nowhere near Christmas even. Because it is a Christmas scene. I picked it up for $5. So I quintupled my money. I'll take it. This is a Bowden women's blouse. It's a size 10 floral top. I like Bowden. It's fairly pretty. Don't mind the noise in the background. My husband's in the kitchen mucking around. Made in Morocco. I had it listed for $33.75 and took an offer. It was on sale. And I still took an offer after the sale, which I don't usually do, by the way, for $25. This was a guest shirt. Again, this was on a sale. A guest skirt, and it was vintage by George Marciano. It was denim. It had a frayed edge. It was a size 30. I picked this up at a local thrift shop for $5, but it was on sale for half price, so I paid $2.50 and they paid $37.50 for it. This again was in a sale. Thermal Aid, terry cloth, plushy, floppy, hot, cold, comfort, boo boo monkey. He was like a terry cloth material, and you heat him up and it makes you feel better when you don't feel better. And he sold on an offer for $10. This was an IKEA pillow. It included the pillow. It was originally $25 on sale for $18.75. I get paid $2 for it, and it sold for $18.75 on a sale. This is a vintage needlepoint bald eagle. It was framed. It was older. It had like a kind of a wool fabric in here. It was pretty cool looking. It was like a petit point. It was in decent condition. The frame was rough, but you could see it was an old frame. And this was the back, so it was tore up on the back, but I showed the pictures, and you know that there were holes in the back, and it was not in good condition in the back, but you can see, look at the square nails in there. This is an old frame. I'm not sure how old how the picture is, but the frame was definitely old. And I did see others of this pattern listed, like this eagle, but like none of them had square nail frames and wool. This is definitely looks like a wool yarn. So I was really puzzled by it, but I put all my information in the description. I had it listed for $112.51. It was on sale, and I took an offer of $90. And the lady was thrilled. These are a pair of wallflower jeans. They were my daughter's, so they still had tags on them. I did have them listed as new with tags. If I pick it up like at a yard sale or something, even if it has tags, I don't list it as new because I didn't own it first. But these sold for $10.80 on an offer. This is another angel deer. This was a camo puppy and also has been well loved, as you can see, but that had a better tag on it. Those are those little nubby things. This one was kind of rare, and so as you can see, I had it listed for $50, and it sold for $50. And I had $1 in it, so that was good. Not all of them sell for $50, but every now and then there's one that will. That's really hard to find. This is a Free People fleece shirt. It's a jacket. It's a large. It's button down. It's kind of an older tag too. You can see. There you go. The buttons. It was a little. I did take the roller thing to it to get the lint off, but it was, it was dark. So linty things that are dark just attract lint, even while I'm taking pictures of them, I swear. And I do dust my house occasionally, so I don't know, but it was just that way. So this sold on an offer for $32, and I picked it up for $8 at a thrift store. So this is a dancing, singing Christmas tree, dandy, rocking. It sings "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree," and it moved and it danced and all those good things. I don't think I had a video of it, but and it rolled around and it was crazy. It was cute though, and it sold for $26.25 during a sale, and I picked it up for $2. This is another Giorgio Rossini silk tie. Again, Art Deco, G-Matrix. There you go. See, that's got that deco look. And it was made in Korea. It was vintage, and it sold for the whole $22, and I paid $4 for it at the thrift store. There's one thrift store that's priced up. Those are the $4, $5 ties. I don't buy them unless I know that they're going to move for at least 4 times to 5 times what I'm paying for them, just so you know. So this is a cuddly quarry critter, a sculpted plush kitty cat. It's called Second Nature Design. He was tan. He had this really almost velour looking pile, but look at that sculpty face. He was really cute. He was curled up on his side. Before I had a better way of taking pictures too. I picked him up a while ago. And he sold on an offer for $15, and I paid $1.50 for him at the thrift store. This is a Build-A-Bear pink chenille terry cloth robe. It's hooded. As you can see, look how cute that is. It's got the little bee on there. Fancy. And they paid $12 for this, and I have 25 cents into it because I bought an entire bag of clothing at a yard sale for like $5. It had tons of stuff in it. So this was one of those things. This is Sperry leather loafer. It's a topsider buckle fringe, 11 and a half. Preppy, all those little keywords. Lots of pictures. I like the buckle. These were really cute, really good condition shoes. I mean, I'll show you the bottoms of them here. Yes, I do take, but look, the heels were in pretty good shape. There was a little drag there on that inside edge. I even have the price still on the bottom of them. You can see kind of what I paid. I think $12.99 for them, but they were in really good shape. But they did take a while to sell, but they sold for $34, and I paid, I think, $13 for them. So 3 times my money, still not bad. This was a great Wolf Lodge plush, and this sold almost instantly, really. Might have been able to get a little more for it, but there weren't a lot of costs for them. It was $15.55. And I think I paid maybe $1 for him. Probably 50 cents because I think I picked him up at my little thrift store. This is a gun Cindy Bear, and she had tags still on her, but I usually put just with original tags, but there was no really, original tags is what I put there. So when I made sure I got good pictures of her, again, she sold relatively quickly for the full price, $22.22. And I have maybe $1 into her. This is a Brioni striped rep tie. Rep means that, I'll show you here. You see how there's texture in between these stripes? Anytime there's a texture in the fabric between the stripes, that's considered rep. It's not all striped ties. If it's smooth, it's not a rep tie. So they tell me. So this sold for $35 on an offer. There's the Brioni there, and there's a Brioni here. So Brioni ties can do really well, some of them. So this I had a while. And like I said, it was really slow in March. So I was considering way more offers than I would have. But, you do what you can. This is a Calico Critters. It's some furniture. I picked up a whole lot of Calico stuff. This was in there. It was a little gardening tray and a little random table. And I blotted them together. And it sold for $6. So I picked up, and those of you that watch some other videos, I had a yard sale last summer. I picked up a bunch of soap, like 2 or 3 totes of soap. That was all vintage from Wanamaker's from the 40s and 50s. It's a little bit from the early 60s. And it was dusty and musty, and it all smelled still really fresh and good, but the boxes were rough. And, I lotted them up and took pictures of them and have been selling them off, and I bought the whole thing for $25. So everything I knew I could sell at least some of it for $25 right away. And look, it was 10 cents back in the day. Look at that for 1 bar. So these were 5 bars of Packer's Charm soap, and I had them listed for $25, and they sold for $19 plus. Everything's plus shipping, by the way. I don't do free shipping. These were for the church, vintage metal floral enamel cups. They did have some little bubbles in the enamel. I did take pictures of the edges where there's a little thing there, and there was some loss on the handles that I took pictures of. And they sold for $9 on an offer. This is a Wild Republic beaver. He sold for $21.99. And, he was a pretty big size, but he took a while to sell, about 6 months or so. And I got him for 50 cents at the little store. This is a Monet necklace. It's got a garnet colored rhinestone in it. And they're pear-shaped, I guess that's called. Gold tone. It's got a Victorian style to it. This has been listed a little while, maybe about a year. It's got the old hook clasp on it, and it sold for $40.50. These are a pair of Garibaldi jeans. Maria Francois Garibaldi. It's Y2K. They're Twisted 5 men's jeans, $36.30. These sold before I got returned because they didn't fit. So they've now sold again. Hopefully they won't get returned again. But I took lots of pictures. There, they have the M on the back thing there. There's the tag, exterior tag. Um, so they were nice, and they were in really nice condition. And these sold for $40.30. This is a little polo bear, um, and he sold for $11 on an offer. Again, I have like 50 cents into him. And that was everything that sold for the month of March. So, like I said, not an exciting month, a couple good sales in there. I'm grateful for that. Um, so hopefully this month will be better. So far, not. But um, April also has been ridiculously slow. And part of it is anytime that there's a new presidential election, anytime. I mean, everybody's, oh, it's tariffs. It's not tariffs because honestly, personally for me, I don't see how tariffs are going to be a problem for resellers unless you're buying like pallet stuff. If you're doing pallet reselling, that kind of stuff, yeah, you're gonna. If you're buying stuff from thrift stores and doing reselling type sales, I can't see it probably would help because people are more likely to buy secondhand stuff or things online through eBay where they're not going to have to pay a little extra that might get charged if like stuff that's coming from China. So I can't see where that's going to make a difference overall. But generally, I do know that because I worked actually for the state in the job that I had previously, anytime there was a new governor or a new president, which is every 2 years, the economy would shift and everybody kind of hold up and wait a few months just to see kind of the lay of the land. So there's always that happening while everybody's kind of like hedging their bets a little bit to make sure, because you got to pay for food, you got to pay for your bills. I just think part of the slowdown is just really due to people kind of waiting and seeing how things go economically while there's a lot of, because everything went up so high in price and we're kind of seeing where things land and being a little more cautious about money. And that's perfectly okay, understandably, but cautious about money doesn't really harm reselling because this is a way to get things for a decent price. Other people have theories that eBay's doing some algorithm stuff. Yeah, it could be. They do algorithm stuff pretty consistently, fixing things in the background that will, for whatever reason, jockey up things on your website. So, we just have to live with that. I'm hoping this is not indicative of them doing things because, man, they got to not do things like that kill sales so badly if that's them. But you don't know. You just go with the ebbs and the flows. And, you know, for people that are, struggling with this and they're only doing eBay, there's other formats of things for them to do. And, I basically just do eBay. But even I am like thinking I'm going to have to kind of expand out a little bit just to kind of build things up. And that takes more time. So everything is just, there's people who have big YouTube channels, which I don't have. Not that I'm trying to do that because I don't know about the time of that, but there's people that do other, whatnot. And they multi-list. I do list other things on Poshmark. And I did have a sale on Poshmark this past month, but it's like one sale to every 45, 50 sales on eBay is how Poshmark is. I've never sold anything on Mercari or Etsy, but we'll see about getting back to that. Etsy is a little different because you pay, like they relist it so often. So that's a higher listing fee kind of thing, structure. So, everything is, there's lots of sale places. So there's Depop, there's hundreds of them. So there's lots of ways you can sell things and do things. But eBay is really the most consistent and the fastest and the most, you get the most people seeing your stuff. So it all works out. You just have to kind of find things low and do the best you can to offset. And right now, the struggle is real. It's not the easiest thing all the time, but it's fun and it's rewarding when you do get things. So I have no complaints. Honestly, I don't. I do feel bad for people that are trying to do just eBay right now, though, for their primary income because it is a little struggly for that. I'm glad I don't have to do that. But anyway, so that's everything for this month. It was slow. And my take on it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. Feel free to leave comments. I do look at the comments. I don't get on there all the time, but I do reply. I will look at the comments if you leave a comment. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.